Let's crop an image. So here's an image I shot down in New Orleans in the spring. I'm shooting with a micro 4/3 camera, so it doesn't have the same ratio that your camera probably has. Your DSLRs are a 2:3 proportion. So this is a little different than that. Let's go to the crop tool. It's over here in the tool menu. Right here you've got crop, perspective crop tool, slice, select tool. We won't be using the slice tools, just the crop, and maybe we'll play with perspective crop. Okay, so when I click on that, my option bar changes to the crop options. So let's see what those might be. First up, it's ratios. We can pick square ratios, 4:5, 5:7, 2:3, 16:19, 4:5 at 300, 8.5:11 at 300. So it gives you some standard sizes here, some standard video sizes down here. And you can also make any crop that you'd like. So let's just say, okay, so I've got the 2:3 proportion here. It's cropping the sides of my images greatly. So if we move further down in the options bar, we've got these arrows here, and it swaps the height and width. So you can see what happens with the image when I click that. Now that's looking a little better. So I'm losing some of the top and some of the bottom of my image when I crop to this 2:3 or a 4:6 proportion. I can clear these numbers by hitting clear, and then I can do anything I want. I can straighten my image. We straightened our images back when we did the retouch project, but you can straighten here as well if you click on the straighten tool. And let's say I want to straighten to here. It does something like that. So not that desirable. Now that I've done this craziness, let's hit escape on the keyboard to get out of this. So anytime you do something you don't like, just hit escape on the keyboard. Back to the crop tool. As soon as I hit the crop tool, it brings up the crop and we can start manipulating it. After the straighten tool, we have these different grids that we can lay down for cropping. I generally just leave it at the rule of thirds, but you guys might like some of these others to play with. Oops, wrong button. Back to the rule of thirds. And then you have more options. You can show the cropped area, you can center the preview area, enable crop shield, match canvas, and opacity. So what that means is as I crop this down, I can still see what I'm losing. If I come back up here and I change this to 100%, it's totally gone. And if I change it to 1%, it's all there. So I like to have it kind of grayed out so that I can see where I'm cropping. It makes it a little bit easier for me. And you can pick custom colors too. Ugh, don't do that. Okay, you might like it. I just like match canvas. That works for me. So auto center preview is turned on and show cropped area is also turned on. Next up, you have the option to delete cropped pixels. Sometimes I turn this on, sometimes I turn this off. Right now it's off because I've been doing a lot of compositing, and sometimes I want to regain those pixels after I crop them. And then content aware. This adds image area. So if you had a panorama or something that you did and you had little white areas where you didn't have enough information, Photoshop will try to generate that information to throw it into those corners or whatever part of your canvas it's on. So it depends on what you're doing as to whether or not you need that. Okay, so if I come back here to ratio, we can go back to the original ratio, and look, it's small. But if I hit escape and try this again, it goes to the full image. I can do square, and once I pick square, I can click once and I can move this image inside of here, okay? And I can change it like this. If I go outside of here and I hit return on my keyboard, that'll set the crop into place. I get that checkerboard, so I have transparency up there. So that's something you probably don't want to do, but when we get to doing our borders assignment, I'm going to show you when that might be useful. So I'm going to hit Command Z to undo that crop we just did. So once again, back to here. To set it into place, the crop, you can hit the check box or the check up here in the top of the options bar, or you can hit return on your keyboard. Either way works. So there it is, cropped. Command Z, do the same thing again, move it over, hit the return key. It does its thing. Okay, Command Z. So square would work for this. This is a 4x5 or an 8x10. I don't really want to crop it that direction or that orientation, so I'm just losing a little bit off of the sides. Remember, with your 2:3 proportion cameras, if you crop it 8x10, you're going to lose 2 inches of your image. So that's something you need to take into account before you get to the end. So like while you're shooting, if you know they have to be 8x10 images, allow extra space on the sides, because there's nothing worse than cropping off something you need and saying, oh, it's because I had to crop it to fit my 8x10. 5x7. So these are very standard sizes. Once again, hit the little arrows, fills the space. The 16x9, the cinematic sizing, and I can bring this down like this, hit return. I'm kind of liking this format more and more. So you might find something you really bond with. I do a lot of square crops myself. For this assignment, I'm giving you 6 images to crop and resize to specifications on the handout. So these are those 6 images. And remember to download them. You go up to menu, download. Download that original size. Don't just click and drag from here because the file is not large enough. So happy cropping.